Today's date is the 24th of December, 2021. If you like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to support this channel, there will be a link to my PayPal in the description. Thank you very much. Peace. Welcome back to Intuitive Insights Tarot. I'm Scott. Today I'm going to be looking into Jim Morrison because there's a lot of speculation out there, and some say there's plenty of proof that he was MK Ultra. He was an agent for the CIA or the dark forces, that he was created to, I don't know, control the minds of the young people at the time, and that he was doing it for dark reasons. I'm not so sure of that. And this is around the whole psychedelic movement at the time as well. I know a lot of people say that Timothy Leary and Terence McKenna and a lot of these people who were controlled opposition, or they were created by the CIA in order to circumvent the hippie movement or something. That may very well be true. I'm sure it was. But like so many things that the archons have tried to do to control us and use against us, the sovereign humans of this world, we have taken it and used it for our own ends, such as the internet. The internet was going to be a way for Big Brother to spy on everybody and keep everybody under control, but we've used it to connect with like-minded people and use it to our favor. Psychedelics have long been used to heighten spiritual awareness. I know that I had my first trip with mescaline when I was 17, and the one takeaway that I got from that adventure was that everything is an illusion. And shortly after that, I listened to the Styx song Grand Illusion. Don't believe the TV, the radio, or your magazines. They show you photographs of how your life should be, but that's all just somebody else's fantasy, right? I had that revelation when I was 17, and I decided to reject materialism at that age. Anyhow, that's going to be the topic of today's readings. Before I get into Jim Morrison, I want to talk about some things that have been going on with my channel. I haven't been able to upload videos lately. First my house fell apart, as many of you know. Then right after that, I had a problem with my teeth, and I was in a lot of pain, and then I couldn't make videos with that for a while. And the only videos I have been posting have been my shows with Daiga. And so I've noticed many people have unsubscribed in the past 2 weeks. Like a couple hundred people have unsubscribed. And I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe I'm not producing enough content to make them happy. Or maybe they don't like the statement that Daiga and I put out, that this is not a truther channel. And I've said that before. I'm not here to do like what Janine does. Janine does that way better than I ever could. This bother me. It's actually really cool. Made by indigenous people, hill tribes, but it's hanging at an angle and I don't like it. Okay, so yeah, if you want to know, like somebody asked me what happened, why did the elites all go to Antarctica? Somebody asked me to do a read on that. Well, Janine did that. So I don't see any reason. For one thing, I could never come close to what Janine does. So I let her and JC Beyond This handle that heavy stuff. But I looked for anything Janine said about Jim Morrison. I couldn't find that she ever did a read on him in particular. She has mentioned him, that he was MK Ultra. So I did some more digging to see who else has done anything with Jim Morrison. There's a woman named Linda Paris, McAllister TV, I believe is the name of her channel. I found it on BitChute, and she made allegations that he was transitioned from female to male. I've been looking into what Jim Morrison thinks he said in interviews and such in his short career, and I had some notes here. So in one interview he did, he said when asked about young people of that time, what were they interested in, he said, just joy of existence, self-discovery, and freedom. And even though I was a little young for the hippie movement of the '60s, it kind of carried over into the '70s a little bit. I was born in 1963, and I loved it. I loved the whole peace, love, and happiness thing, and I started smoking weed at a young age, and that really helped me because I was an insomniac. Uh, I love the whole weed culture, cannabis. It was given to us by God for a reason, as well as mushrooms and peyote cactus and all of these things. Okay, if you don't believe that, if you're against those sort of things, that's fine. That's your opinion. You're welcome to it. So he also said something about. He said that generation was rejecting the new computer age that was coming, and they wanted to return to a primal state, like more tribal. Much of what he said was anarchist. He seemed to be an anarchist. I'll get to that later. Another one of his quotes was that at that time they only played 33 of the same songs over and over again on the radio, and that people were being programmed by this. He said most people feel that they are helpless to control their destiny. They're just voyeurs. They just sit on their sofas or in their movie theaters and they watch these things going on, and they have no connection to it. They don't go out and do anything about it. That because decisions are being made for you, and that it's sad that most people are simply spectators watching things play out on the television screens. And it's sad that so many ignore the injustices of that day. Okay, so that was what he said in that one interview. And then later on, in his famous concert in Miami on March 1st, 1969, he said some very telling things. You're all a bunch of fucking idiots. Let people tell you what you're gonna do. Let people push you around. How long do you think it's gonna last? Now that question, how long do you think it's gonna last? I don't think he was talking to the people in the audience. I think he was talking to the archives. How long do you think it's gonna last? He knew what was coming. And then to the people, how long are you going to let it go on? How long? Then he's talking to the people. Maybe you like it. Maybe you like being pushed around. Maybe you like having your face pushed in the shit being pushed around. You love it, don't you? Actually, he says, you're all a bunch of slaves. Bunch of slaves. You're all a bunch of slaves. Let everybody push you around. What are you gonna do about it? And then he says that 8 times. What are you gonna do about it? 8 times. Now, in astrology, in the major arcana, 8 is strength. He was calling on the uh, the archetype of the human spirit that has strength. Then he says, I'm not talking about no revolution. I'm not talking about no demonstration. Now, why did he say that? Well, what's a revolution? A revolution is 360 degrees. That means it starts here and it goes right back to where it began. So that's why we don't want a revolution. Demonstrations don't do shit. Just get your head bashed in by the cops. That's all demonstrations do. Says, I'm talking about fun, dancing in the streets. Love your neighbor, he said. I'm talking about love. And he says this 11 times. I'm talking about love 11 times. Now, 11 in the major arcana is justice. Okay. Now, do these sound like the messages from someone who is trying to subvert the human spirit to help the archons? I don't think so. By the way, I'll post a link to this concert recording in the description. At 5 minutes and 58 seconds into this video, the band starts playing "Touch Me, Babe." I think they were getting annoyed that Jim was on this tirade and they wanted him to sing. So Jim says, "Touch me, baby. Can't you see I am not afraid?" And then he says, "Hey, wait a minute. It's all fucked up. I'm not gonna go on. Fuck this shit. I'm coming out," he said. And then there's some chaos on stage for a while. And then at 7 minutes and 30 seconds, he says, "I used to think the whole thing was a big joke, something to laugh about. But in the last couple of nights, I met some people who are doing something. They're trying to change the world, and I want to get in on the trip. I want to change the world, change it." Later on, he says, "There are no rules, no laws. Do whatever you want to do. Do it." Now, I know people are going to say, "Oh, this is like Aleister Crowley's, just do what you like thing." Now, keep in mind, he said love over and over. He said, "Love your neighbor." I have taken that Aleister Crowley term and put it in my own words. Do whatever you want, as long as you do it in a loving way. You follow the golden rule. If you follow the golden rule that was given to us by our Creator, then you can do whatever you want, and it doesn't cause harm to anybody. But you do whatever you want. You are sovereign. You are free. You can do whatever the fuck you want, as long as it doesn't impede on the rights of others. And then somebody hands him that goat. And I'll look at that. Well, who handed him that goat? What did they intend for that to mean? But what he says is, "I'd fuck her, but she's too young." And I'm wondering if this was a signal, a message he was sending to his keepers, that he won't get involved in the, in what they do to offspring of people, little ones. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do in this reading. By the way, I used to have a dashiki just like this when I was a teenager, and a hat like this too. So I don't get to wear this dashiki very often. So I figured this is the perfect time to break it out and get back to my hippie roots. So my cards are shuffled and ready to go. And first, I want to look at this. What Jim said about a couple of nights ago. He met some people who are going to change the world. Who are those people, and how are they changing the world? Let's see. So So these people were not not just ordinary people. These are people who have been involved in this for a long time, going back karmically through ages. This card represents Jim. Let's see if I can move these up. Okay, so Jim was very surprised by this. This is a group of people, not necessarily people, even entities. They may have appeared as people to him, but they represented something much bigger that on a grand scale over a very long time are working to change the world. But they are working hand in hand with people of Earth. They made Jim an offer. They said, look, if you walk away, this Eight of Cups, if you walk away from what you're doing now, you will help bring balance back to the world. In your new position, you'll be in a position where you're using words and thoughts like Rush Limbaugh. And I'd like to know who these people were. Secret organization. So they were starting something new at that time. All of these cards were something new. Something new was beginning around that time. This was 1969, right about the time JFK was assassinated. This was the beginning of the alliance. The people who, or the entities and the people who were involved in that alliance had been around for a long time, but this was the beginning of something new that they were starting. Yep, it was going to change the way the whole world operated. %. At that time, they had 80% of things in place to begin. They were almost ready. And now it's complete. So I asked, what about now? If it was 80% then, what about now? Well, now it's complete. They're wrapping up what was begun back in 1969.